Now the election back and I'll die away. In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget fights and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. Remember, the key to success is working hard. For our country, we must have regard. Forget all your differences, let we start to build.
Welcome to the Hub. Again, another opportunity that you and I have to engage meaningfully using radio and social media. I want to say to you that Grenada belongs to all of us, and we must work together to transform this country of ours. But do not believe for 1 minute that everyone who comes to you and say, let's work together, let's team up, NNP, NDC, because Grenada belongs to all of us, let's unite. It means that they are genuinely interested in uniting. It doesn't mean that they're genuine when it comes to uniting. In fact, we know about the NNP's past track record when it comes to unity. All right, let me just take that call for my good partner, Kim the King there. All right, 1 minute.
And onward to progress we surely will. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation.
Yes, so I was saying, do not believe that, they're genuine. We know about the NNP and how they have always shunned this whole idea of unity, of working together to develop country. We experienced it after Hurricane Ivan, when the Honorable Tillman Thomas at the time, who was the leader of Her Majesty's opposition, reached out to the NNP and say, let us work together. A disaster is affecting everybody in the country, right? That the disaster affected everyone in the country, and opposition and government should come together and work to bring back Grenada even better. And they turned around and said, no, 2 male crabs cannot live in the same hole. They're not interested in working together. And you're talking after Hurricane Ivan, that devastating hurricane, damaged 90-something% of the housing stock, damaged the country, reversed the country to many, many, many years, right? And everybody was looking for that type of unity where you can come together and build a country. And the NNP said, no, we are not going to unite with you to do anything. So right now, they're in opposition. The NNP is in opposition. And every time they get the opportunity to speak on any platform, they will talk about unity. And we need to unite. We need to come together. They are not genuine about unity, because the Honorable Gloria Thomas and the Honorable Delma Thomas decided to come together to build their constituency, right? To deliver for that constituency. And look at what happened to her. So it's clear the NNP is not interested in uniting, in coming together and developing country. All the NNP wants is power. They're desperate for power because they have gotten so accustomed to being in power, to being in charge. In fact, when they speak, they sometimes say the NNP government still, they're still saying that as though they're in power still. And not everybody who comes on a project site is genuine about seeing that project to completion, making sure that the house is constructed or the road is constructed or that project is completed. There are people who will come on the project site to sabotage, to undermine, to cause you not to complete that project, to have a lot of delays, a lot of setbacks. And that is what you're finding with the NNP. They're obstructionists. They're not genuine about the development of Grenada. But they're in awe, they're in shock, because they never thought the NDC, this young team of men and women, can pull together, right, and deliver so much within a short space of time. Remember, they expected the NDC to fail miserably. That is what they expected. They never thought that the NDC will come in and deliver on so many grounds, in so many areas. So they're still shocked. They're still wondering how they're able to do it, because they never thought that they were going to deliver, that they were going to transform the country. And that is why the level of desperation on the part of the NNP is showing up now. They have intensified the desperation. And people are now questioning, right? Questioning their whole motive. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, we have had some experiences with the NNP. Folks, just 1 second. Some rain falling here heavily. I just want to close this thing here. So just bear with me for 1 sec. A lot of rain falling here now in my area. So just bear with me for 1 sec.
So come let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. So much of things that we need to see about. Surely I do have to spell them out. Cause you know as well as I do, the only way is put in more effort and less play. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come let us go hand in hand, because this is our land. Come my brother, come my sister, and let us build a nation together. This also goes for every Trinbagonian who going to live in a foreign land. Now is the time to come home and do something. instead of staying out there and freezing. Because now, more than ever, we must show.
Yes, so folks, again, thank you very much for hanging on there and waiting for me patiently. All right, some rain falling in my neck of the woods, and we are grateful for it. I tell you, outside was extremely, extremely hot today. Very, very hot today, and I want to give thanks, right, for the rain at this point in time. So I was saying to you, not everyone who comes on the project site is interested in seeing the project to completion or seeing the building, the road, whatever completed. There are a lot of these people who come on the project site to obstruct, and that is what we are seeing from the NNP. So every time they talk, they say over and over, nothing is happening and nothing is this and nothing is that. Even the situation with crime and so on, calling on the FBI and calling on Scotland Yard to assist. It's a big joke because the NNP was there and they never called on Scotland Yard and called on the FBI to assist them with crime fighting and crime prevention and so on. But they're doing all of these things to create a scene, to make people believe that there is problems in this country here so big that we cannot handle it. And the majority of these situations are situations that the RGPF has always solved. They've always gotten to the bottom of these things. But that is the impression they want to give, because they have always done that. To come back into power, they give people the impression that they are genuine about the development of the country and that they want to see something good happen, but they are not sincere. They are not sincere, and we are seeing that every single day. So I'm saying to you, they will always obstruct. So for example, you had a certain member of parliament on a recent program. I'll give you a typical example. She was on that program, that's the Honorable Kate Lewis, and listen to what she had to say. And then I will play for you what Mikey Hutchinson, who is a journalist, a reporter, and a lot of people know his political leanings. So that is not anything that you could question, right? He might come across to be very independent at times, but a lot of people know where he stands politically. A lot of people know that. So let me play for you what Kate said on the To The Point program. So it's a short piece. Listen up for what she had to say.
I also gave high commendation, the creative ministry, the creative economy, and the symposium, the 3-day symposium that they held for young creatives. I believe that was very good. But what happened after? There was no sustainability leg for it to stand on. So to me, I see that as a one-hit wonder.
Right, you see? That is what she's saying. Let me play it again for you. It is important that you hear what she had to say. Because you see, these people, they're not sincere, they're not genuine about the development of the country. So she's referring to the symposium. Remember the symposium for the creatives? That was a big thing. Unleash, very, very big. And they outline the roadmap, the things that they will achieve within a specific period of time. So they outline the scholarship. They spoke about the scholarship. That's something that was in their plan. Scholarship at TAMCC for the creatives. They also spoke about the 100% concession that will be given to creatives, right? And they also spoke about an office where people can come and register as a creative. They had that office open officially. So there's a number of things that they outline, and we are seeing it come to life. But yet for all, this lady will go on that particular program and say what she just said there, what I just played for you. Listen again to
I also gave high commendation, the creative ministry, the creative economy, and the symposium, the 3-day symposium that they held for young creatives. I believe that was very good. But what happened after? There was no sustainability leg for it to stand on. So to me, I see that as a one-hit wonder.
Right. She sees it as a one-hit wonder, no leg for it to stand on. But hear what Mikey Hutchinson had to say regarding the whole creative industry and creatives like him who's in that area. Hear what he had to say on that said subject matter.
Nobody never called me and say, Mikey, this. Nobody never present nothing for me. Nobody never say, look. And then, hey, in March of 2023, it was the launch of the creative economy and the, how do you call it? The concession. Con who? I said, let me try the business. Let me try the business because because I, being through this for years, do realize that for every $1,000 I spend out there to bring in an equipment, just to clear it, is this? I have to put another 1,000 with that. You understand? And I thought that was unreasonable. Unreasonable. When you're walking at people through CBI and through all kind of things, they just come in here. They just come into all kind of thing. You understand? And they're getting concession, always, shape, and form. But the small man, they don't qualify. The small man is left to suffer while the big boys just come and trample on the opportunities. Trample on the opportunities, people. That is what has existed over the years. Papa, I signed up for the concession. You understand? Because again, I am convinced that small businesses are being raped and are being set up to fail. When I go and pick up like a thing, liquor mixer, telling all the liquor mixer for me thing. I pay $600 US to get it here. $600 US as the cost of the item. And when I claim, you got to pay $8. Wow! Liquor thing so £3. I'm telling all of them, this is what I've been going through for years, and not only me, people like myself. So it became hard to grow your business. It was hard to establish, hard to grow, hard to maintain. Do you understand? So anybody as a small business who operate the way I do and survive all of GT. You understand? But anyway, the creative economy came about, and then the concessions came about. I signed up for the Bennett. And last month, for the first time in my entire career, in my entire life, possibly, that I received a handout. Well, not necessarily a handout, a discount. A discount. And I'm so grateful for that. Because now I can actually spend more. Spend more. Because you're not going to break your back when you come here. You don't break in your back when you come here. You get like a concession, people are telling all you. So this whole creative economy, business and Bennett, this is a brilliant idea, and it should not only be for creatives, but just for small businesses in general. You know, just creating a level playing field. Because there are some people who they had a muscle by virtue of inheritance and probably family ties and all of that. And then the small man has to compete with that. Come on. So it is important to create those platforms and avenues for the small entrepreneur to be able to survive, to be able to start, to maintain, to grow. Yeah? So, yeah, man. So this creative thing now, they're taking it a step further, and now they are presenting this program. You understand? An associate degree program. What the hell? You understand? That's amazing. You know, so I have to say kudos to y'all for that initiative. But Mikey, let's talk too much to you. Feel like radio.
Right. So that was Mikey Hutchinson there. So you heard Mikey and you heard Kate Lewis. And one wonders whether or not those folks who are on the NNP side is really serious, right? Or genuine about Grenada, because they would go on programs and they would say all manner of things, right? That's how I hear.
I also gave high commendation the creative ministry, the creative economy, and the symposium, the 3-day symposium that they held for young creatives, I believe that was very good. But what happened after? There was no sustainability leg for it to stand on. So to me, I see that as a one-hit wonder.
Right. So she sees that as a one-hit wonder, and Mikey is happy with the concession, the 100% concession for creatives, and that associate degree program set up for creatives at TAMCC. It's free, scholarship free for creatives to go in and get an associate's degree. The NNP couldn't think about that. They had no vision where that is concerned, but they are very quick to criticize. And that is why I am exposing Kate tonight and exposing the NNP, because here you have someone who benefited personally from the concession given to the creatives, who is happy with the associate's degree offered for creatives, and it's free, it's a scholarship. And on the other side, you have the NNP saying, this thing ain't good. This thing not happening. Nothing ain't happening there. And that is what they are accustomed to doing when they're in opposition. They are accustomed to crying out, to screaming out, to bawling out, and give people the impression that nothing is happening. In fact, I listened to that piece with Kate, and she spoke about who being fired, who being sent home, who being this, who being that. But up to now, we have not seen unions in Grenada coming out and say, well, look, 20, 30, 40, 50 people were actually fired or sent home. We have not heard that. So you have many unions in Grenada, and they represent workers. Why they're not coming out and say, well, workers are being sent home, in a big way, and look at the amount of workers who have been sent home? Why they're not coming out and say that? Because they're the right authority, really, to come out and say that. But they can't. They cannot. In fact, when they spoke about the 3 people in Carriacou, when they discovered that the people were not even unionized and they were on a temporary contract, and when we expose remember I exposed the actual letter speaking to the contractual arrangement, because they were out there saying, well, they were fired, but when you look at the contract, it was expired. It was, that up long, so they know, and they were temporary. So you have a number of them who are out there giving you the impression that somebody's sending them home, but that's not the case, because we would have seen, workers in the street protesting, demonstrating, and calling for their job. There's a gentleman who is now attacking Gloria Thomas, the Honorable Gloria Thomas. The guy is 67 years. He is between 66 and 67 years. So he passed his time, right? And what made the thing nice, he got pension, he got gratuity, he got money for so. He bought a bus, he did X, he did Y. And the NDC decided to look at the salaries that they're getting at that facility and to increase it, to make it retroactive, to increase the amount that they're getting. So he can't wait. He cannot wait. He has no patience where that is concerned. So he has to get some retroactive money, like the other 8 or 9 of them. But they passed the age to work. But because they go back, this government go back and say, no, the salary that they were receiving was not enough under the NNP. Under the NNP. So the NDC decided they're going to increase it. So they do it retroactively. So if it's for 4 or 5 years, they would then go back and do a calculation and say, well, you were receiving 1,500, but we think that you should have received $1,800, for example. So for all the months, they would then give 3 the additional $300 per month for the 5 years. So in one year, they would get 12 by 3, right? Because it's $300 more on every month that they were not getting. So that is what it means. So the NDC, with their goodness, decided we're going to do it retroactively and give them something. This individual now goes on the usual NNP platforms and trying to slander the Honorable Gloria Thomas, who tried to assist the said individual walk up the Honorable Gloria Thomas step, with a vest, inappropriately dressed, so to speak, and say all manner of things against the goodly lady now. He's saying all manner of good, things about the goodly lady, but she was never wrong in her approach. She did nothing wrong, but that is how they operate. The goodness, is the goodness of the NDC that some of these people are using now to seek to spoil the good name of some of those ministers. The goodness, I'm telling you, because NDC didn't have to go back and up the salary retroactively. They could have just started from now, but they said no, and that is what the individual is actually out there doing, giving people the impression that they owe him something. It's amazing. I refuse to feature that little piece of clip where he called a particular station, those NNP folks, where he called them and running mouth on this goodly lady. And the NDC administration actually was doing a good. And watch, the thing almost ready, but you can't wait. The retroactive money almost ready. The NDC has a history. This administration has a history of paying on time, right? But of course, you're dealing with public servants, and sometimes you have to wait a week or two before you get what you're supposed to get. But you have to be grateful. Be grateful that the NDC came into power and they decided to retroactively increase the salaries of the people who work in that facility. So it's not that they owe him some money where you really, really genuinely deserve it, The NDC decided to give them that money retroactively. Go back and say, nah, they were not properly paid as they're supposed to. So, let us adjust it. So it's the goodness of the NDC. And the NNP folks will always go there and try to paint the NDC in a bad light. And that is why I am calling on reasonable thinking Grenadians to stand firm and support the NDC, because the NDC means well. I just gave you a typical example. You have a minister, a former minister and member of parliament, an elected member of parliament, on a program bad-mouthing the creative industry and what the government is doing. And then you have a recipient, somebody who benefited from the thing, out there saying the thing is good and it's beneficial, and the kind of money that he used to pay, you no longer have to pay that kind of money to clear anything, right? And I am just hopeful that Grenadians are seeing. Let me just try to get this here. Seeing this thing for what it's worth, because we need to expose it. We need to expose it. We spoke about the free tuition, for example, where parents are extremely happy with the free tuition, the $810 from TAMCC, so they no longer have to pay that money, and the $750 for NULO, they no longer have to pay that money. You understand the point? The parents are happy, the students are happy, but the NNP not happy? The NNP not happy? They're on programs running down this good initiative. In fact, they reached to the point where they're saying, well, they had something like that in place already. They're trying to take out shame from the eye, They're actually on programs saying to the general public that they had something like that in place. And you go around and ask parents, have you ever heard about any free tuition support like this across the board, where everybody going to TAMCC benefiting from this, or NULO benefiting from that? But let me play for you that piece, because I believe in putting the evidence on the table, because the Grenadians are happy, parents are happy with the free tuition support.
The government of Grenada will officially launch its free tuition program on Monday, September 4th. The launch will take place at the Grenada Trade Center from 2:30 p.m. and will be broadcast live on the government information service. The free tuition policy has been approved by Cabinet for students attending T.A. Marshall Community College and the New Life organization. Speaking in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister for Education, Senator the Honorable David Andrew, said the free tuition policy will also be extended to the 3-year pharmacology program at TAMCC. Senator Andrew clarified that although tuition will be absorbed by the government, students will still pay for ID cards, registration, and other deliverables. He said his government has allocated $2.5 million towards the free tuition policy.
This policy is one where the government will pay the tuition fees associated with study at TAMCC or NULO, right, or any other approved center in time. And so we know that the $810 annual fee that was payable at the T.A. Marshall Community College, that fee will be absorbed through this government's free tuition policy. Further, that same fee will be applied to persons pursuing studies at NULO. So I know it will cover the tuition part of NULO fees, but it will be an excess that will be applied to some of the other fees. So we want to make it clear, we are not saying there are no other fees. You may have to pay registration fees, you may have to pay T-shirts and other deliverables that you may get, the identification badge. We're not interfering with that at this point, but we are happy to bear the load of the $810 tuition fee.
Right. So that is important. That's very important, because the NNP folks are out there now saying, well, they told us free education, but now we're hearing about free tuition. So the NNP trying to swing it to say, well, everything should be free, because this is what they believe they heard during the campaign, right? But tell me this. You have a situation where parents from pre-primary schooler, whatever money you used to pay to get your child in pre-primary, primary, secondary, and now TAMCC and NULO, you no longer have to pay that money for tuition to get your child in. So a parent who has children in, let's say, primary school or secondary school, and also in TAMCC or NULO, because you might have one in TAMCC, one in secondary, and you might still have one in primary if you have 3. It depends on the age, right? The difference with the age. But that parent is benefiting significantly from government's free tuition policy and universal education. They're benefiting significantly. But to the NNP, the NDC should go even further, make everything free. But when the NNP was there, they did not even make the registration of $30 free at TAMCC. When the NNP was in power, they did not have the vision to remove just the $30 for registration, for TAMCC. But they are quick to criticize the government for doing something good by removing the $810 tuition fee for TAMCC and the $750 for NULO. But you know the reason why they're doing that? Or the reasons why? One, we know the NNP don't like an educated person. They don't want you to be educated. They don't want you to be liberated through education. And two, we also know that they are fearful that the beneficiaries, the students who are benefiting from this free tuition policy will be, if they are not yet voters, will be a voter come the next election. And the mere fact that they appreciate what this government has done, there's a great probability that they would align themselves behind this young team. That is what is causing them to be so uneasy. So the NNP is not concerned about the young people getting a good education and the assistance that this initiative is really providing for the parents, right? They are not concerned about that, period. They're concerned about power because they're saying in their mind, boy, these young people will one day be voters. And if the NDC is helping the young people in that way, because remember, the free textbook program is still there yet. The free textbook program is still there. It was a program introduced by the NDC, and the NNP watered down the program so much. In fact, they were not even ordering books because, you know, they had their friends with bookstore and so on, and you know what happened in a particular year when the other bookstore had no books, that bookstore had all, way before. So they make a kill when it comes to the money. They made a mint. So they watered down that program, and after a while, people say, well, they only go get 3 books or 4 books in the program. But when NDC introduced that program, you were getting all 10 books, all 12 books. And if you believe I am lying, ask parents who were benefiting from that program when Sister Franca Bonadine was Minister of Education. That program was a boss. So the program is still there. The voucher program or the school supply, right? And uniform assistance program. That program is still there, where hundreds of students benefited only a couple weeks ago, benefited from that program, where they were given a code, a QR code to go into different stores and get uniform and get school supplies. And then you have the free tuition support at TAMCC and at NULO. And then you have it from the pre-primary to secondary school level. So parents, they're paying less to get their child education or in the school. Then you have all the scholarships still being given to our people, the scholarships to go abroad or to study right here at SGU. And then you have that scholarship given now to creatives, the photographer, the artist, the person involved in theater, you know, the calypsonians, the soca artists, we can go on and on. Given to them free scholarship at TAMCC to get an associate's degree. You have the technical and vocational training brought back in upper primary and secondary school. You have Grenadian history brought back in our schools, in our primary schools and so on. That is important. So the NDC is doing a lot in terms of young people getting the opportunity. In fact, I met a young man who called out to me and said, Kem Jones, he said, Kem Jones, boy, my little business doing well, you know. His little business is doing well. So I asked him, well, what do you mean by that? He then turned around and said to me, he got the $30,000 grant that the NDC administration gave to a lot of young people, 500 and something beneficiaries, where they were able to start their little business or expand a little business or hire 2 or 3 people to work with them. So it is bearing fruits at this point in time. You have young people who are coming back and say, yes, they got help and they benefited significantly from it, and their business is doing well. And there's follow-up. They didn't just give them the money like that. There is follow-up to make sure that they're given the assistance to be successful. So while the NNP is out there saying, well, nothing happened or nothing is happening, and a lot of people this and a lot of people that, we're actually seeing the fruits of all the different initiatives of the government. They're crying out and say, well, a lot of young people this and a lot of young people that. Nearly all the programs that existed under the NNP, they are still in existence. Still in existence. But the NNP will always be a cry baby. That is why the leader went in the parliament and the speaker told him to have his seat, take his seat. And he turned around and said, if you think I'm what? A little child, something like that. Something like that, right? So there would always be a cry baby party. They're obstructionists. They don't want to see Grenada move forward. And they will forever be that way. It would not change. Because you see, desperation can cause you to be out there saying all kinds of stuff that don't exist. Right? You remember when they tell him to sit down?
That is unacceptable.
Honorable Leader of the
Members,
Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, give...
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Jesus Christ. Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Could you please have your seat? I want to say something to you, sir.
Yeah, I'm your little child. I'll sit.
No,
Mr. Speaker,
I use the word please.
No, serious, I'm your child.
Honorable, I use the word please to you, sir.
I am your child. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that is what you find. They're like cry babies. They're afraid of reality, because the reality is our Grenadian brothers and sisters are actually benefiting from this government. I was in St. George's, and a gentleman who works in government said to me he's going to withdraw. He said they pay in on the 15th and they pay in on the 38th. So he no longer has to beg to make it till the end of the month. And that is the vision of this government. The NNP said it's not feasible. It cannot be done, the bi-monthly or the twice monthly salary payment, right? But the NDC decided we are going that route because it could be done. And we are now seeing the benefits of that. But the NNP will always be an obstructionist group of people. And when you see them, you have to call them out, They're obstructionists. They don't want Grenada to move forward. They don't want to see you prosperous. So they would say to you, the people who got their pension, you have the NNP folks out there saying, well, they didn't spend the money. They put the money in the bank. That is what the NNP saying, They're still out there telling people that the folks who got their retroactive pension and gratuity, they ain't spending the money. In fact, I had the opportunity to encounter a teacher, a retired teacher, who doing some repairs on a house, right? And she said to me, Kim Jones, I'm spending the money, right? And it's her money anyways. It's their money. When the NNP was in power, they were not even willing to give those teachers, nurses, police officers, prison officers, public servants generally, who retired, their pension and their gratuity. They were not even willing to give them the money that belonged to them. The NDC came and gave them the money, but the NNP still have a problem with that, to say, well, they didn't spend the money, they didn't spend it back in the economy. But teachers and nurses who know, they well know, they would not spend all, but they spend to repair, they spend to do a lot of stuff. And that is why the economy is projected to grow. Because the NNP said, no, there would not be any growth in the economy. But we saw what the World Bank, the IMF, and all of them came here, they assessed the health of the economy and said, no, the economy will grow by a significant amount because of the prudent economic policies of the NDC administration. Because the NNP thought that them alone that could run Grenada, right? They thought that this place is only for them. And we have to be very, very careful when you hear them out there saying, well, the taxpayers' money is for everybody. We know it's for everybody. But when NDC is in power, that applies only to the NDC administration. But when NNP was in power, they didn't know that. The NNP didn't know that because they would give their people, they were focusing on their people. Every time they have a program or any initiative, they were focusing on their people first and foremost. So they would continue to bawl and scream and be out there creating a scene. But I am grateful that with technology and with our people understanding what is at stake, Grenada will forever remain in the hands of the NDC. I have had a lot of Grenadians calling me, because remember I put out that challenge to say to you, I am taking it as a personal pet project to have the folks in the diaspora who really love what is happening here in Grenada to get registered and participate in the election, participate in the next election. So I've created a database, and a number of you, quite a number of you, have reached out to me already. And I want that to continue. I want you to know that you are a Grenadian and you have a right to vote. You have a right to register and vote. And all you need is a Grenadian birth certificate or a Grenadian passport to get registered. So when you come here for a funeral, when you come here for a wedding, when you come on vacation, when you come back to Grenada, please do not forget to get registered. And don't just go alone. Let me know. Say, Kem Jones, I'm in Grenada and I'm going to get registered. And I will assist if you really need me to, because a number of people reached out to me. You know, they want some assistance to guide them through the process, to make sure that they get their birth certificates, get the required stuff, the location, where they have to go, that kind of stuff. And I am willing and able to facilitate that, to help you through that process. You have reached out to me, and I'm very, very happy. I want that to continue. So between now and the election, at least, let us work on registering thousands of Grenadians who want to see the transformation continue in the country. And if you were registered and you didn't get a chance to vote, please, I want to add you in that database too. Because come the next election, you have to vote. You have to participate. Because you see, the NNP, they don't care about all the good things that the NDC is doing for our Grenadian brothers and sisters. The NNP is concerned about the NNP as a party. They don't concern about Grenada as a country. And their supporters are the same. They have the same mindset. They party over country, and it should not be. So all that the NDC is doing, all the transformation, the people who will go out on election day, more so, will be NDC people to vote for the NDC and the government. And those in the diaspora who know better, who want to see this transformation agenda continue, they will return to make sure that they participate in the upcoming election 3-4 years down the road. So you could give those NNP supporters everything, because they are benefiting significantly from all those social safety net programs and so on. They're benefiting. They're eating a good food. The children benefiting. In fact, there is one who calls on a particular program in the morning time and say the chatters on the streets. His son or daughter, either his son or his daughter at TAMCC benefited from that $810. Yeah, benefited from that. So they're benefiting from the initiatives of the government. And they're happy about that, but they would not come out and express thank you or be grateful for what this government is doing. They will not do that. So a lot is happening and they're benefiting, but don't expect them to openly acknowledge it or praise it. Because they believe if they do that, their party will be at a disadvantage. That's exactly what it is. So they could get nearly everything. They still will not. Let me just say here, maybe 1% or 2% might. But generally speaking, I can tell you, it would take the NDC supporters and those who are conscious-minded in this country to keep this administration in power for a good time to really transform this country in a serious, serious way. We start seeing it, we start benefiting from it, which is a great thing. But we have to strategize to make sure that what we are enjoying remains for a very, very long time. Because we want it to remain for a long time. Grenada belongs to all of us. And we should never allow just a small clique, right? Because they believe that 28,000 people who voted for them still with them. And they also believe that they still have 1,000 or 2 who did not vote for them, even if they supported them. But they were not happy with what was taking place and they wanted change. So they still believe they have roughly 30,000 people who support them solidly. And they believe with that, they can cross the line because they believe between now and the election, there will be 1 or 2 of all people who might be, disgruntled and so on with minor little things and may not go out and vote. And by that, they might get a chance to bounce back. That is what they believe. But what we need to do is to make sure that we get our people here in Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique, and in the diaspora to understand that if we have to get this transformation, right? If we have to maintain it, if we have to guarantee that this thing takes place over a 15-year period, 15 years, we have to strategize and participate to make sure that the NDC remains in power. Because I'm telling you, I know those NNP supporters well. You could do all what you're doing. You could help them left, right, and center. The majority of them will never, ever support you because they think in party and not country. And that is just the fact of the matter. So again, I hope you understand. And let us keep it going. The folks in the diaspora, when you send me the messages and so on, I'll add you to the database, get your information, get you registered. It is so important between now and the next general election. Yes, some people might say, well, it's 3 years from now, 4 years from now. But what I can tell you, time flies. And 5 years is only long when you're in jail. When you're outside here, 5 years is short, right? So again, we have to think about that as we move along. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program. I want to wish you all the best. I want to thank the 800 and something people, YouTube and Facebook put together, right? So you might see a number on Facebook, but from here where I sit, I am seeing jointly the total amount of people who are on social media, YouTube and Facebook. It was 800 and something people. And I want to thank you very much, those who share in the program, those who are letting their friends, their colleagues know that the program is on, because our program, the Hub, is still by far the most popular program in Grenada, right? Even if we had to adjust to move from Vision Information Services on Facebook to Transformation Agenda, Grenada Transformation Agenda Facebook page, and our YouTube Vision Information Services YouTube channel that is still there. We are still by far the most popular nightly program in Grenada. And then the morning program, the Dynamic Hour, is still by far the most popular morning program in Grenada. So I want to wish you all the best. I want to thank you for sharing and for liking and for following me on social media and for subscribing to the channel on YouTube. Keep doing that. Those on radio, thank you very much for spreading the word about the program, and more people are discovering the program. Take good care. Peace and love. Bye for now. Bye for now. You have to pull the curtain.